Yes, Hamzambo, karibuni to the Swahili classes this particular weekend, being on the 18th of the month of January, the year 2025. I want to welcome each and every one of us, and I do hope that you've had a fantastic week. And if not, I do believe that you are still altogether very optimistic and positive because eventually things will actually shape up. How is your year? How is the year coming along so far? I would love to know. And we are happy that we are back with the Swahili classes this particular year. Because we believe it is only with a commitment and a persistency and also a whole lot of a practice that you can get to learn and embrace this beautiful language of Swahili. And that is why we do it each and every other weekend around this particular time. We are here, and of course, we do hope that we are able to keep the class interactive because at the end of the day, the more interactive we are and the more active we are, the better and the easier it is for us to get to learn this particular language. Swahili happens to be the most popular language on the African continent, and of course, very, very popular in different places. For example, East Africa. To any East African country, go perhaps to Tanzania, or maybe perhaps go to come here, visit us in Kenya, or maybe perhaps go to Uganda or Rwanda. You will be able to interact with the people through the language, and you'll also be able to connect with the roots because I believe a language is a doorway. A language is that particular doorway that gets you into this particular culture, and you are able to interact with the Bantu people because Swahili is a Bantu language, and not just the Bantu people, but with the African people around the beautiful continent of Africa. I would hope, or I would rather perhaps aspire to see, maybe to see even this particular language also gaining a prominence or being accepted and being embraced in other parts of the world. For example, in Brazil, if I did see people actually learning Brazil, that would actually warm my heart because I know that in Brazil, that is where we do have our African people, the largest concentration, or not concentration really, but the largest group of African people outside the continent. They are right there in Brazil. And maybe perhaps it's also time for the Brazilian people, our African people in Brazil, to also learn and embrace this particular language so that we are united through one language. And on the 17th of July, is it the 17th or the 7th? We do have the International Day of Swahili, the International Day to celebrate Swahili. And this happens to be on the 7th. This happens to be on the 7th. This happens to be on the 7th of July every other year, when the world gets to celebrate or gets to acknowledge or gets to, rather just to celebrate, this beautiful language of Swahili every other year on the 7th of July. That was set apart by the UNESCO, and it actually set apart this particular day to recognize the importance of Swahili as a global language. And one of the biggest supporters of this particular language was the former president of Tanzania. His name was John Kapombe Magufuli. John Kapombe Magufuli was actually encouraging even Southern Africa, not just East Africa, but even Southern Africa, to adopt this particular language as the official language of communication when there are official meetings, for example, with the SADC. And the SADC happens to be the Southern African Development Corporation, which brings together African countries from the southern part of Africa into one common bloc, which is the SADC. We also do have COMESA, which is a common market for East and Central Africa. We also do have, for example, ECOWAS, which is the Economic Community of West African States. And all these blocks, if all these blocks were to adopt Swahili, I think we would get an inch closer. And I think we would actually have made a whole lot of progress in terms of uniting African people and our language. On the African continent, I keep on telling us that we have more than 1,500 languages. If you go to, for example, our neighbors here, go to Ethiopia, there are over 81 different ethnic groups speaking different languages. So we'd have about 81 languages in Ethiopia. If you are in Kenya, we do have about 47 different ethnic groups, and therefore you'd imagine there are 47 languages here. If you go to a place like Cameroon, they do have about 150. If you go to a place such as Nigeria, they are about 200. And so if we're speaking about 5 countries, among them, they would have maybe perhaps maybe over 300 languages. But then again, I think it is also the high time we get to actually embrace Swahili as that language that will actually unite our people all around the world. As a Black people or as an African people around the world, this is the language for you. Grand Rising, Sister Michelle, you saying morning to you too. I hope that your weekend is coming up just fine. And I do hope that everything is well for you and your family. And we're happy to have you in class today as we get on, as we embark on our classes, and maybe pick up from where we left last weekend. But even before we do so, we shall be doing a bit of a recap of what we learned last week, and then we shall pick it up from there, and then we shall continue forward with today's class. For those who might be joining us for the very first time, my name is Spikes, and I'm happy to be with you as the Swahili tutor. On the African continent, you do happen to realize that for most people, they are able to speak in 3 different languages. That is the mother tongue or the vernacular, and then there is Swahili, and then there is also the colonizers' language. You'll find for countries that were former British colonies speak a whole lot of English. If you're talking about countries that were colonized by France, you do find a whole lot of French-speaking people in that country. So in most African countries, you do find them having to speak 3 languages for most, others just 2 languages. But we are happy here that we are also able to teach these languages, and that you can add it onto your list of languages that you can speak. Last week, let me try share my notes here with you. Let me try share my notes here with you. And last week we were talking about we did an introduction to Swahili, and we did a bit of key and popular words or phrases in Swahili. We were able to do a bit of that, an introduction to words such as the words of the basic family unit, or members of the basic family unit. We say that if you're talking about mother or mom, that's translated to mama. If you're talking about a father or the dad, we call it, we translate that to baba. If you're talking about a sister in Swahili, that is translated to dada. And if you're talking about a brother, that is translated to kaka. And last week, we also went further ahead, and we were learning about the different parts of the body. And we were also learning about common objects. For example, we talked about food. We talked about drinks and beverages. We talked about clothing. We talked about housing and shelter and things like that. Words that will actually pop up in a day-to-day conversation. Words that will actually just happen to be mentioned even when you haven't spoken for a long time with someone. And we got to do an introduction of that. Last week, we also got to introduce the greetings in Swahili and some common courtesy words. We did say, for example, if you're welcoming someone to your house, you would say karibu, because karibu simply means welcome. You would welcome someone and say, for example, habari kaka, karibu sana. You would be saying, hello, sister, you're much welcome. You are much welcome. We also learned about words, for example, like if you're pleading with someone or if you're asking for courtesy, you would use the word tafadhali. We learned that last week. And tafadhali simply means please. So if you're telling someone, tafadhali njoo ndani, tafadhali njoo ndani, tafadhali njoo ndani, that means you're saying, please step inside, or come inside, please step inside, or please come inside. And that is the word tafadhali, Tafadale. And last week, we also learned about the 5 vowels. When I put up my palm like this, on my hand like this, these are the 5 fingers. And these 5 fingers can actually just represent the 5 vowels in Swahili. And the 5 vowels in Swahili happens to be the English letter A. You can use a thumb for the English letter A, which is the Swahili vowel A. And then you do have A, E, O. Those are the 5 vowels in Swahili. The English letter A making the vowel A, the English letter E making the vowel E, the English letter I making the vowel E, and the English letter O making the vowel O, and the English letter U, making the Swahili vowel U. U. For example, if someone says unahitajika, unahitajika, it's U. Let me just use an example of the word with the vowel U. Someone might say unahitajika, 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 unahitajika. This is just a phrase meaning that you are needed. Unahitajika, jika, unahitajika simply means you are needed. You are needed. You are needed. And that is, for example, an example using the vowel U. We talked about, you might say, ushuru. Ushuru is another word. I was just giving examples last week. Ushuru just simply means tax. If someone is talking about taxing you, have you paid your taxes or things like that, they would say ushuru. And for example, if you're talking about to pay tax, that would be lipa ushuru. Lipa ushuru. Pay tax, that would be lipa ushuru. That would be pay tax. Pay tax. But for this particular class, we try to use the words that will actually pop up in a day-to-day conversation so that we get the basics first and foremost. But do not forget, we do have the 5 vowels. These are the 5 vowels in Swahili. And then we do have over 28 consonants. We also do have over 28 consonants. And I keep on telling us that the consonants in Swahili, they are many, simply because we do have what we call the special class of consonants, the special class of consonants. So we do have the vowels on one hand, and these vowels are A, E, O, U. I wish I had like a board. I will try organize and see if I can actually set up and have a board where I can just write it down. It will be much perhaps more easy in terms of demonstrating my point. But for now, what I'm saying is you do have the 5 vowels in Swahili: A, E, O, U. And these are the English alphabets: A, E, O, U, and I. But we also do have more than 28 consonants. You do have more than 28 consonants in Swahili. I'm talking about all the letters of the English alphabet except for X and Q, except for X and Q. And on top of those, except for X and Q, except for X and Q, non-existent in Swahili, non-existent in Swahili. X and Q are non-existent in Swahili. And I did say the other consonants happen to be the special class of consonants that combine more than one consonant, or they put together more than one consonant. For example, C and H, we learned last week, for example, in the word chakula, which means food, that has a special class of consonant. That is opposed to a thing like maybe a thing like tunda, where we do have the consonant ta, and then we do have the vowel u, and then we do have these other consonant na. So that would be tunda is for fruit. Tunda is for fruit. But I realize that the special class of consonants are the R, the CH, the SH, the GH, the DH, and also TH, and of course the NG, NG with an apostrophe. That we did learn last time. These are the special class of consonants. They include the special class of consonants in Swahili. And I did give examples of what this particular special class of consonants. Apart from chakula, you might talk about a thing like dhahabu. Dhahabu is gold. Dhahabu is gold. These days I don't hear kids. Sorry, these days I don't hear moms naming their children dhahabu. I think that name kind of it's lost popularity. But you'll hear people naming their kids Zawadi, Neema, things like that. But Zawadi means a prize, or Zawadi means also a present. But for the words with a special class of consonants, they do include the habu, they do include the Latini, TH, the Latini simply means 30, the Latini, it simply means 30. And this is just another example of a word that has a special class of consonants, which is the TH. But otherwise, on a normal day-to-day, the other consonants, they do include B, sorry, bacha, da, bacha, da, fa, ga. This is ga. Ha, ka, ja, ka. So these are the other normal. These are the other consonants in Swahili, but you have to omit. You'll have to omit X and Q, like I did note up. You have to omit X and Q if you're talking about the consonants in Swahili. But then again, you still have to add others, which are these are special class of consonants. That's why I did say there are more than 28 consonants in Swahili. You have to omit X and Q, and then you still have to add these others that combine two consonants. For example, C and H, S and H, G and H, D and H, T and H, and the NG with an apostrophe on top of it. For example, ng'ombe. Last time when we're talking about animals, ng'ombe, the word cow, that is for cow. That is for cow. You would actually say ng'ombe. So you pronounce it with that apostrophe. It makes it ngo. So there's a way you actually just put your tongue. Actually, it's your upper palate that the tongue rolls. Actually, on your upper palate. Ngo. No. I think it's just ng'ombe. You pronounce it just like that. So when it comes to the greetings, last week, what we did learn about the greetings. Greetings are very important. These are just the greetings and also the icebreakers. You would say hujambo, H-U-J-A-M-B-O, hujambo. Hujambo is for hello. So if I came up to you and I say hujambo dada, that would be for a sister. Dada simply means a sister. That would be hujambo dada. That would be hello sister. Hello sister. And if I went further, I would say, if I went a little bit further, that is a hello sister is a hujambo dada. But even if I wanted to go a little bit further, I would say hujambo dada, habari yako. Habari yako is simply how are you. Habari yako is simply how are you. How are you? So I might also say habari yako kaka. That would be how are you. If I'm talking about kaka is brother. We have already established, or you have already you translate that to brother. So if someone says habari yako kaka, that would be habari yako. Habari yako kaka. That would be how are you brother. How are you brother? So that is simply how you check on someone. You can check on someone pretty easy. It's not difficult. You check on someone in that particular way. You do say habari yako. If it's a mother, you would say habari yako mama. If it's a brother, you do say habari yako kaka. If it's a sister, you do say habari yako dada. And of course, there are different ways in which you can respond. Someone can say salama, which means well. Salama simply means well. If someone says, if you ask someone habari yako kaka, and then the brother says salama, it's understood that he says he is well. And if you're talking about someone saying nzuri, an N, the consonant N, nzuri, then that will be good. So if someone asks you habari yako mama, if you're an elderly lady and someone says habari yako mama, you can respond and say salama, which means well, or you can respond and say nzuri. And if you wanted to ask them how about you, or how about you, you can respond and say je wewe or wewe je. You can say je wewe or wewe je. Je wewe would be how about you. How about you? If someone says je wewe, how about you? You can respond and say nipo or niko. Nipo salama pia. You can say and respond and say salama pia. Salama pia means Good as well. Good as well. So that would be a way of just getting to meet someone and say hello to them, and then they would respond, and then you can try and move that conversation a little bit fast forward, because you would say hujambo kaka, and that would be hello brother, and they would respond and say salama, which means well, or they can respond and say nzuri. Sorry, if they were to ask hujambo, sorry, let me just not get things confused. If someone says hujambo, you respond and say sijambo. Let me just get that right. If someone says hujambo, which is hello, you answer, the way you answer is sijambo. The way you answer is sijambo. The way you answer is sijambo. So if someone says hujambo kaka, which means hello brother, or if someone says hujambo dada, which is hello sister, you would respond and say sijambo, sijambo. And they would move a bit further from that. They would move a bit further from that and ask you habari yako. Habari yako. If they did say habari yako, now that is when you respond and say salama. If someone says habari yako is how are you, which is how are you, which is how are you, then you would say the response is salama. You can say salama. And last week, as we did have a class last week, we did say that if someone says sana, S-A-N-A, which is sana, the two syllable word sana, S-A-N-A, that means a lot or very, a lot or very. So if someone says salama sana, someone says nipo salama sana. If someone says salama sana, it means that they are emphasizing that they are very well, or they're doing quite okay. They're doing very well, or they are doing quite okay. That is what sana emphasizes. So if someone says hujambo dada, you respond and say hujambo. And if they go on and ask habari yako, if they ask habari yako is how are you, you would respond and say salama, or you can respond and say nzuri. So someone would come up and say hujambo, that is hello. Then you would respond sijambo. And then if they pressed on and ask how are you doing, which is habari yako, you respond and say salama. But if you want to emphasize, you can respond and say salama sana, salama sana. Up to that particular point, if you're together, it's fine. I want you to get to pace down these particular class, so that nothing gets to escape your attention. So apart from that, someone might ask you, how was your day? How was your day? How was your day? So they would actually say, je umeshindaje? Je umeshindaje? Which is je. Je actually just signals a question. Je signals a question. And then you would say umeshindaje? Je umeshindaje? Je umeshindaje? Or just simply umeshindaje? Umeshindaje simply means how was your day? How was your day? And that would be the question. That would be the question. And if your day was well, or if your day was good, or if your day was fine, you can respond and say salama. Umeshindaje? You can respond and say salama, which means well. Salama means well, is equals to well. Nzuri means good. Nzuri umeshindaje? Someone will say vizuri. So nzuri means good. And you can actually use those particular responses. You can use those two particular responses to signal or to respond and show that your day was actually good. Show that your day was actually good. So that is how you respond to someone asking you umeshindaje. So the conversation would move a little bit further forward. If someone wanted to welcome you to their house, I did say that the common courtesy word is karibu. Karibu, K-A-R-I-B-U, karibu. Karibu simply means welcome. So if someone says karibu ndani, that means welcome inside. Welcome, come inside. And if someone wanted to ask you whether you wanted to have some food or whether you wanted to have something to drink, then they would actually do that. But before, of course, when you get into the house, they would say karibu kiti, which means have a seat. Karibu kiti, karibu kiti, which is welcome, have a seat, which is welcome and have a seat. Welcome and have a seat. If someone actually extends any courtesy to you, what you do is you are appreciative or you thank them. And the way you appreciate or thank someone is by saying asante, asante, or asante, asante, or asante. So, asante. If someone says karibu, njoo ndani, karibu kiti, which is welcome inside, have a seat, you can say asante, which is for thanks, and asante or asante. You can respond in that particular regard. If you forget asante, you can use the word shukran, shukran, which is for thanks as well. Shukran, which is I appreciate, which is I appreciate, or thanks as well. I appreciate, shukran. And therefore, up to that particular point, someone has greeted you, you have responded back to them, they are welcoming you to their house, and they're asking you if you could have a seat, love to have a seat, and then you are appreciative and you do say asante. And even if you wanted to emphasize that asante, you can say asante sana, S-A-N-A, asante sana, which simply means much, I thank you a lot, thanks a lot, thanks a lot. So if you do say asante sana, it simply means thanks a lot. Thanks a lot is for asante sana. Thanks a lot. It simply means asante sana. If someone extended any courtesy to you and you just want to be thankful, you can say thanks a lot. If someone wanted to wish you a day, a happy, a good day, they would say nakutakia siku njema, which is a good day. Siku, S-I-K-U, siku njema. For example, if you just had a greeting and they are seeing you off, and they just wanted to wish you a happy day, they would say nakutakia siku njema, which is a good day, I wish you a good day. Nakutakia simply is a phrase. Ninakutakia. The last time when we were in class, we learned that we do have two uses of ni. The syllable ni. The syllable ni has two uses. First and foremost, it's a way, or it's used as a prefix to refer to I or myself, I. If you do say ninakutakia siku njema, it simply signals, or it simply points to myself, I, which is ninakutakia siku njema, ninakutakia siku njema, which means I wish you a good day. But the ni syllable can also be used as a suffix, which actually indicates inside of a place or within a place. For example, if I'm talking about the market we call it soko, S-O-K-O, soko. But if I'm talking about inside the market or within the market, I would say sokoni. Sokoni. I have used the ni syllable at the end of the word soko to just show it's within. I've used it as a suffix on that particular word. It means inside the market, or within the market. So that is two uses of the ni in Swahili. I think I've explained before, but nonetheless, the more I repeat it, the easier it would be for you to comprehend. Up to that particular point, if you have a question, shoot, ask. I did say that question is Swahili, S-W-A-L-I, Swahili. If you do have a question, ask, which means a question. If you do have a question, shoot, you can ask. And maybe perhaps you can also let us know where you are tuning in from. I will be delighted to know where you are listening to us from, or where you are watching the stream from. I would be glad to know, so that it would be wonderful to know. And I always do say that learning a new language is it's difficult if you're doing it on your own. But when you do have your colleagues, when you do have some family members, when you do have some friends that you can practice with, then it will be actually very nice. Do not just take on the journey of learning a new language and simply doing it by your own self. I believe it is also very important. I believe it's also very, very important for you to be able to do it with friends, or do it with colleagues, or do it with people, because you can throw some of these particular words at them and they might ask, what's going on? What are we doing? What does that mean? And then you would be able simply to tell them that this means that, and maybe perhaps with a few of them helping you in terms of in terms of practicing this particular language, would be very, very wonderful for you to be able to do that with people. So up to that particular point, we have learned that you can welcome someone or they can welcome you. You can greet someone or they can greet you, and you are able to respond to them because we have already learned how you respond to them right here. And if you do have a question up to that particular point, please uliza swali, which is ask a question. Please uliza swali, which is ask a question. If someone was tell you goodbye, there's two words. Karibu. Karibu is when you come in, coming through, you just arrived, which is karibu for welcome. But if you're actually leaving, if you're leaving and they just want you to signal goodbye, we just say kwaheri. 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 I think we have already learned that so many times, which is goodbye. Goodbye. If someone says kwaheri dada, it simply means goodbye sister. If someone says kwaheri mama, it simply means goodbye mom. If someone says karibu dada, it simply means you're welcome sister. So those words are not to be confused. They are quite rather different, and that is how you normally just welcome someone, or when you are actually waving them a goodbye or just wishing them a safe journey, you would actually tell them kwaheri, nakutakia safari njema. So if you're talking about a day, I want to wish you a happy day, we do say nakutakia siku njema. But if you're actually bidding someone goodbye and you want to wish them a happy journey, you would say nakutakia safari njema, which is safari, S-A-F-A-R-I, safari njema. It means a good journey, a good or a safe journey, a safe journey. Because a journey translates to safari. A tour also translates to safari, which is a tour, all a journey, or a trip. All of them, those are just words that you can use interchangeably for a trip. Safari happens to be a trip, and a journey, it can be just a tour. If someone says safiri, safiri is the verb. Safiri is the action, is the doing what, which means you are journeying, you're traveling, you're making a trip too. If we do say nina safiri kwenda Kenya, that will be I'm traveling. Safiri, but safiri happens to be the verb itself. Safiri happens to be the verb, but we shall be getting to learn about happens to be the verb, meaning travel, but safari is a noun. We shall be getting to learn and getting into the grammar of Swahili. We shall be getting to do that, but let me share my notes once again on here, and then we shall proceed as we should. We shall proceed as we should. So we learned about the main differences between Swahili and English last week, last week, and we examples of the vowels. We learned about the consonants, gave examples about the consonants. We learned about the body parts, members of the family unit. We learned about the animals, the basic items. And last week we got to a place where we were talking about ownership and also relation. So we did say that if you're talking about, if you want to demonstrate a relationship, myself and them, or myself, it will be a brother standing next to me, my brother standing next to me, or my sister standing next to me, or my cousin standing next to me. Apologies, we had a bit of a hit. The connectivity went out, but I was getting back. I was getting back on track, and I was taking us to where we left off last time, because we were learning about ownership, and we were also learning about relationship, ownership, and relationship. So if it was a brother, my brother standing next to me, or my mother standing next to me, the way you show relationship between you and them is that you use this particular word, yangu, yangu. So for example, you might talk about my mother, my mother. So you would say mama yangu, mama, we have already established that mama means mom, mama. If you do say mama yangu, we said that shows that's my mother, that's my mother. If you're talking about a sister and it's my sister, you would say dada yangu, dada yangu, dada yangu. It simply means my sister, my sister. So yangu, yangu simply is for my. It simply is for mine. So if, for example, someone says habari yako dada yangu, habari yako dada yangu, it simply means how are you my sister, how are you my sister. If someone says habari yako kaka yangu or habari yako kakangu, it simply means how are you my brother. If someone says habari yako shangazi yangu, that would be how are you my sister. Sorry, how are you my auntie? Because for auntie we simply just say shangazi, shangazi, shangazi. So for if it's my brother, my mother, my sister, you do say mama yangu, or you do say kaka yangu for my brother. You do say dada yangu for my sister. But we also do have other words, and we also do have these other words that show the relation. Let me just put them up again. Let me share my screen. Yes, we also do have these other words that show the relationship. If it's your sister or if it's your brother, yours, we do say yako. Your, we do say yako. For example, mama yako simply means it simply means your mother. If it's brother and you do say kaka yako, that is your brother. If you do say dada yako, it's your sister. If you do say shangazi yako, that's your auntie. If you do say mjomba yako, olo wako, that would be your uncle. Mjomba is for uncle. And if we're talking about hours, we do say yetu, hours. For example, we are talking about our sister. Maybe perhaps we are two brothers, and then our sister is coming in. Maybe she's coming from to visit from school, or I don't know from where. So that would be our sister. Our sister would be dada. Dada is sister, but then yetu to mean ours, our sister. It shows that relationship between you and them. You might say habari yako dada yetu. That would be how are you our sister. That would be something like that. And if we're talking about our shows that relationship between you and them. And for yangu simply means my. If I say mama yangu, it means my mother. If I do say kaka yangu, it means my brother. And those are some of the examples. And then from there, we also do have other words that show relationship or ownership. And these also include theirs. What's the connection between them and it? It's theirs. For example, you might say baba yao, it means their father. If you say mama yao, it means their mother. If you're talking about maybe perhaps they have wronged their mother. You would say wamemkosea mama yao. It means they have wronged their mother. Wamemkosea mama yao. Or if you wanted to say they love their mother, they love their mother. For example, it's two brothers and they have been raised by their mother very well and they show a lot of love and respect to their mother, then you would say wanampenda mama yao. Wanampenda mama yao, which simply means they love their mother. They love their mother. And penda, we did say penda last week, that penda means to love. Penda is an action, is an action. So penda simply means to love. Simply means to love. It's an action. Penda, it's an action. But if it's the love itself, if it's the love itself, you say pendo. Pendo, it's the love. Pendo, it's the love, which is the verb. But if we're talking about penda, penda simply means the doing word, which is the verb, penda. So if you say wanampenda mama yao, it simply means they love their mother. They love their mother. And if you add the word sana to anything or to any phrase or to any sentence, then it means that you are emphasizing. So you might say wanampenda mama yao sana. It would be they love their mother very much. They love their mother very much. So sana, sana is simply just used to show the magnitude or just to emphasize the magnitude, and it means a lot or very. A lot or very. So if we do say kuja haraka sana, last week we learned that if you're talking about you're calling someone and you say kuja, kuja simply means come. So if someone says kuja haraka sana, kuja haraka sana, we did say that you're emphasizing haraka sana. It means come very fast. Come here very fast. Come here very fast. And that is just how that might be used in an example. There's also another very common word in any conversation, and I've always said that if you go anywhere to any society and you haven't been there for so long, or you can't even make out what they are saying, there is always words that you will actually realize, okay, they keep on repeating this word very, very many times. They keep on repeating that other word very, very many times. So it must mean something, and it must be something of importance. So last week we were talking about money. Money in Swahili we call it pesa, which is money. And I was saying that in 2019, when we went to Rwanda, I kept on hearing people saying amafaranga, amafaranga, amafaranga. And in Swahili, faranga means chicken. So I was wondering, amafaranga, does it have anything to do with chicken? And then I realized amafaranga is money. Amafaranga is what they refer to their money, and it comes from the name franc. So they say faranga, faranga, faranga. So they use the francs, that is their currency. So from the franc, they call it faranga, faranga, and then they have the amafaranga, which means now money. And also when I got there, and I didn't know Kinyarwanda, and I kept on listening to conversation. You know, when you're going around and you have passed through the market and some other place like that, and then you hear the name keeps on coming up every other time. That's when you realize this is very important. And money, when you're talking about money or currency, it's very important. You can also use the word feather. Feather means also money. Feather also means money. Also means money. And therefore, it's very important. You know, it's very important to also understand numbers. Because if they do ask pesangapi, if someone asks pesangapi, they are asking how much money is it? How much money? How much money? How much money? That is how they all ask what they are asking, pesangapi, pesangapi. So if you're all anywhere and they're asking pesangapi, then you would know that would be how much money are you talking about. Maybe you went to the store and you wanted to purchase a pair of shoes, or you wanted to buy a book, or you wanted to buy a shirt. And then you might ask, ile ni pesa ngapi? You're pointing to something, you would mean how much is that? How much money is that? Ile ni pesa ngapi? Ile ni pesa ngapi? And that is simply how you get to ask. Then they might tell you, 200, 100. Mia simply means 100. 100, and we shall be learning about the numbers as we proceed. But if someone says mia and then they say mia moja, then that is understood to be only 100. Anyhow, I think we shall take a short break, but before we do so, if you do have a question, shoot. Ask your question. If you do have a question, feel free to ask. That will be I will be glad. I will be more than glad to respond to you. Will be more than glad to respond to your question. If you do have any question up to that particular point, also drop in a comment. Let me know where you are tuning in from. I would love to know. Let me know where you are actually tuning in from. We'll be more than delighted to know where you are actually joining us from. Personally, I'm streaming live from Nairobi, Kenya. If you haven't been to Nairobi, I would love to know what you have heard about what you have heard about our country, Kenya. Is what have you heard about this country? And if also another question for you, even as you take a break, what African country, if you haven't been to Africa, what African country would you love to travel to first? What African country, given an opportunity to pick one African country, what country would you love to travel to? I would love to know, because it's important. I would love to know, if you're given an opportunity, what country would you love to travel to first? And that is my question for you. For those who are watching from Rambo, I appreciate your time. You can drop in your comments. Let us know what your question is, if you have a question. If you're watching us live from BitChute, also do let me know. And if you're watching us live from YouTube, please do let me know. So, if someone really just wanted to say asante kwa kuungana, or they wanted to say thank you for joining us, in Swahili we do say asante sana kwa kuungana nasi. Asante sana kwa kuungana nasi. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you're talking about welcome to class, I would say karibu kwenye darasa letu, which is welcome to class. Karibu is for welcome, and thank you, you simply just say asante. But we are learning that we do have 5 vowels in Swahili. So every word in Swahili will mostly be constituted of a word with alternating vowel sounds. Add a word with alternating word constituting of syllables with alternating vowel sounds. Syllables with alternating vowel sounds. I keep on using the example a book. A book. If you're talking about a book in class, or even the class itself, class is a darasa. Class is a darasa in Swahili. And so it has the word with syllables that have alternating vowel sounds, which is da, ra, sa. That is da, ra, sa. And all these particular the words that are the syllables have an alternating vowel sound, which is a, da, which has a, ra, which is and sa, which is as well. If you use the word a book, the example of the word book, kitabu, kitabu, which means a book, you also find it has ki. Tabu, which is a word with syllables that have alternating vowel sound. Ki, it has a vowel sound e. Ta, it has a vowel sound a. And bu, it has a vowel sound u. So these are just vowels and consonants just put together. They form the basic roots of a language, the vowels and consonants. And we do have ki, ta, bu to mean a book. Ki, ta, bu to mean a book. So if we do say ninataka kitabu, ninataka means it's a phrase. Ninataka is I want. So you would say ninataka kitabu, ninataka, it means I want, or I would like. I think I would like is more polite. I would like. So if you say ninataka kitabu, it's understood to be I want a book. If you say I want ninataka chakula, it sounds like Nina and Taka, so it sounds like Nina plus Taka. This is how it sounds to me. If you're talking about English, it's like Nina and Taka. But if you do say ninataka chakula, it's like Nina and Taka. But if you say ninataka chakula, chakula is for food. That will be I want I want food. I want food. Well, I want some food. That would be ninataka chakula. Ninataka chakula. It's a phrase which means I want. Chakula is a food. If you wanted water, you would simply just say ninataka maji. Ninataka maji, which is I want some water. If you're asking for something and you want to borrow, you do say nipe, which is INPE, nipe, which simply means give me. It simply means give me. So if you're talking about nipe chakula, that will be please give me some food. Give me a nipe chakula. If I did say nipe chakula, that will be give me food. Give me food. Nipe chakula. That would be give me food. Give me food. If we're talking about money, like I was giving you an example with the Kenya Rwanda, which is spoken in Kigali and all of Rwanda, that would be nipe amafaranga. Just give me money. If it this say nipe pesa, that will be give me money. If you do say ninataka pesa, give me money. If you do say ninataka pesa, then that will be I want some money. But anyhow, there's so many things that you can request for, and when your request is granted, you do say asante, all asante. We have already learned about that, and I remember we shall be having these classes every other weekend, and you can always join us for class. Let us know where you are tuned in from. It would be a delight. If you're watching us from YouTube, well and good. If you're watching us from BitChute, we appreciate. If you're watching us from Rambo, we also appreciate your time and your company, because I was saying that practice makes perfect. The more you're practicing the language, the easier it becomes for you. If you happen to be, not so active with the practicing bit of it, then I think you might miss out on a lot. That is why I always keep on urging us, please keep on practicing. Please keep on practicing. And before we continue, I want to urge us to visit the official network website. We do have a network website on here. Let me share the screen with us, because there are interesting things are happening right now around the world. Even as we learn Swahili in the context of a world that is rapidly changing. Today you wake up, things are like this, and then the other day things are not like that. So it is important that I share with us as we proceed. These the official website are here. Please feel free to visit the website. As you can see, there are shows, there are videos. There's an African blog. There are news and sports from all around the world. And we also do have a news from Africa and Kenya particularly. We also do have a store on here in case you think you'd love to get yourself an apparel. Maybe perhaps you want to get yourself a hoodie. Maybe perhaps you want to get yourself a t-shirt. You want to get yourself a baseball hat, baseball cap. You want to get yourself a sweatshirt. Then you would be able to just head over there. Maybe you might want to have a beanie. You might want to get some slides. You might just want to get yourself a shirt with a sleeve button shirt. There's a whole lot of things that you can find. Maybe a snapback hat, a denim jacket, a whole lot of things that you can find on there. And also you can get to purchase from that particular platform as well. That would also be quite interesting. So we proceed. Like I did say, if you have a question, please ask before we proceed. If you do have a question, tafadhali uliza. Tafadhali simply means please ask. Please ask your question. Please ask your question. If you don't have a question, then we can proceed. Proceed. So last week, I think we got to a point where we were learning about the relationship, and I've already expressed that. We have talked about that. Another important thing to learn in Swahili is getting your directions right, because you might be lost and you're trying to find the directions. So therefore, if you're talking about the right you do say kulia, kulia. So mkono wangu wa kulia, this is the right hand. You do say about the right hand. So if someone says, I'm looking for the directions to get to town, so you would actually ask them, habari yako, na ningependa kuulizia mwelekeo wa kuelekea jijini. And therefore, they would actually just tell you, turn right. That would be unaelekea kwa mkono wako wa kulia, which is the right. Kulia simply means right, but it also means it's a verb. It's also another verb in Swahili, which means to cry, to cry. So if someone says, mbona unataka kulia, that would be, why do you want to cry? Or mbona unalia, that would be, why are you crying? But for the sake of direction, because that is what we are learning, it means the right. For the left, we do say kushoto. For the left, we do say kushoto. Mkono wangu wa kushoto, on this hand, on this side, that is where you'll find the shop. If someone is trying to give you a direction to the convenience store and it's on their left, then you'll find it kwa mkono wake wa kushoto. If it's up, you're talking about moving up, we say juu, juu, J-W, juu. And if you're talking about down, go down, take a left. If you're talking about down, we do say chini, 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 which is C-H-I-N-I, chini. If you're talking about the north side, we do say kaskazini. And when you're talking about the south, we do say kusini. And for the east, we do say mashariki. For the east, we do say mashariki. And for example, even when you're describing places, if you're describing places and you do say Africa Mashariki, it simply means East Africa, East Africa, East. Mashariki means East. Mashariki, it simply means East, Mashariki. So it means East. So if you're talking about Africa Mashariki, then you would say East Africa. If someone says Karibu in Africa Mashariki, they are simply saying, welcome to East Africa, welcome to East Africa, Karibu Africa Mashariki, welcome to East Africa. If they're telling you, if they want to welcome you to West Africa, maybe perhaps you want to take a tour to Ghana, go to places such as Senegal, go to places such as Sierra Leone. By the way, I haven't had a lot going on in Sierra Leone. It has been a minute since I saw someone says they have touched down Sierra Leone and they're doing their settling and investing in Sierra Leone. But if someone is talking about West Africa, they would say Africa Magharibi. Africa Magharibi, because Magharibi is west. If you're talking about North Africa, then you would actually say Africa Kaskazini. Africa Kaskazini, or Kaskazini mwa Africa, which means North Africa. North Africa. If you're talking about South, for example, with the country South Africa, I've never understood why South Africa doesn't have a name. They ought to have a name. They ought to have themselves a name. Why do you call a country South Africa? Anyhow, if you're talking about South Africa, you would actually just say Africa Kusini, Africa Kusini, Africa Kusini. And another country which doesn't have a name on the continent happens to be the Central African Republic. Why would you be calling your country Central African Republic? We also do have Western Sahara. I do not feel that that is the name for the country. But nonetheless, if you're naming your country by the direction, then you should also have a country, the name for that particular country. But then again, South Africans are maybe at some point they will wake up and figure we don't have a country, we don't have a name for a country. Let's just now give it an actual name, or Central African Republic. Because if you're telling someone that maybe someone from Kenya, let's use an example from Kenya. So someone from Kenya is called a Kenyan. But what do you call someone from the Central African Republic? Do you call them a Central African Republican, or how do you call them? It's quite confusing with that. But nonetheless, we're here to learn Swahili. Like I did say, please let us know where you're tuning from. I would love to know. My name is Spikes, and in case you're joining us for the very first time, we love and appreciate your support and your company. The main reason as to why we are learning Swahili is because we believe this is a language of the future. And this is a language that will be able to connect our people around the African continent, around the world, as a Black and as an African people around the world. We have so many differences, and one of them should not be language. I think a language will be the unifying factor. You know, people wait until February when we start talking about the Black History Month, and you know, people wake up to the Pan-African spirit. But after February, people forget that we still need to be unified. We still need to unite, because we always do say, united we stand, divided we fall. We have been divided. When our people are taken from the continent, they had their languages. They had their beautiful names. But when people were snatched from the continent through slavery, through these transatlantic slave trade, their language was lost. Their names were lost. You're given a name of your slave master, so the language was lost, the culture was lost, the names were lost. But when we do have a language that can reconnect us to the roots, then that will be a beautiful place to start, because you can now also have a rewiring. It should be a rewiring or a re-engineering. We always do say that learning something is easy, but unlearning something is quite the trick. It's tough. But then again, when you do have a language that can reconnect you back to the roots, it also helps rewire your thinking and also rewire your spirit to some extent. Anyhow, let me know how you feel. Let us know where you're tuning from. It will be a delight. And you can also drop your comment or a question. So we proceed. We have learned about the directions. We have said that kulia simply means right. Kushoto simply means left. Kushoto simply means left. And up, if you're talking about upwards, we do say juu for up. And chini is for down. Chini is for down. CHI. This is a chini is for down. Chini is for down. And that is how it is. And I will move on, fast forward from that. We make a step further ahead. And we shall proceed with common verbs. And the common verbs have to do with day-to-day things that people do on a day-to-day basis. First and foremost, you wake up in the morning, or perhaps from last night you go and asleep. So if you're talking about sleep, we do say lala, and lala simply means to sleep. Lala, lala is just as word with that syllable la repeated, so it's lala. So you might say sleep. So if someone says lala salama, remember we did say that salama means well. So if someone says sleep well, you would translate that in Swahili. It becomes lala salama. And we also do have wake up. When you wake up in the morning, we do say amka. Amka simply means to wake or to rise. So if you do say amka salama, nimeamka salama, then that means I have woken up well. Salama or nzuri is okay. Njema is also okay. So if someone asks habari ya asubuhi, and you just woke up, and they want to know how is your morning. So they would say habari ya asubuhi. Asubuhi simply means morning. Asubuhi simply means morning. And if someone asks habari ya asubuhi, habari ya asubuhi, it simply means how is your morning? How is your morning? And if someone asks you how is your morning and it's well, you respond and say salama. If you want to emphasize and say very well, you do say salama sana. So habari ya asubuhi, salama sana. Habari ya asubuhi, salama sana. If it was on your way outside and your neighbor, you met up with your neighbor and they want to say hello, they would say hujambo. If they would say hujambo, and then they might proceed and ask habari ya asubuhi, then you would respond and say salama. But if they ask hujambo, you respond and say sijambo, and then they continue and ask you habari ya asubuhi, then you respond and say salama, all nzuri, all njema. Those three words are perfect. They mean well. Njema means okay. Salama means well. Salama means well, and nzuri means good. Nzuri means good. So do not forget those three words. They can be used interchangeably, especially when someone is asking about your affair or your state. How are you? Habari yako. You can respond and say nzuri. You can respond and say njema. You can respond and say salama. You can respond and say salama. But for the sake of this particular class, we shall use the word salama often more than nzuri and njema. Let's just agree to stick to that particular one because we do not want to be much more confused. We want to be on the same page. So I think we shall take a short break. Or do you proceed? If you have a question, please ask. I wanted to play as a jam, and then we shall continue the class. But if you do have a question, feel free to ask. One of the ways in which you can learn Swahili, one of the things that can help you learn Swahili better is through listening to Swahili music. And you can listen to Swahili music, or you can watch Swahili films. You can listen to Swahili music, or you can watch Swahili films. And these are Swahili films with subtitles. You can watch Swahili films with some subtitles, and that is you can catch on what is going on with that. You can catch on what is going on with that, or what they are saying. So let me play as a jam. It's by the one of the most popular African bands. It's known as Sauti Sol. The name of the song is known as Baba Yangu. Baba Yangu, we have already established that Baba Yangu simply means my father. So if someone says Mama Yangu, it's for my mother. For Baba, if someone says Mama Yangu, it simply means my mother. If says Baba Yangu, it simply means my father. So this is a jam. Let me know how you feel about it, and then we shall proceed. Even as you continue, it's very important that you also jam to some Swahili songs and know what's good, even with that as well. And that is a jam by Sauti Sol. And I think from this particular lesson, you can catch on what they are saying, because what the song is about appreciation to the father. And they do say Asanti sana baba yangu, which simply means thank you very much, my father. Umenipa mafunzo ya ajabu, which means you have taught me valuable lessons. You have taught me very, very invaluable lessons, rather. And that is an appreciation song for the fathers. And the name of the jam is Baba Yangu by Sauti Sol. And this project, they released a project which is known as Soul Philosophia. I think it came out in 2009, around 2009, 2010. So this is one of the groups that you can check out. And they represent for Kenya, East Africa, doing tours all over, and they're doing wonderful. And I think people they also follow in their solo careers individually. But nonetheless, let us continue with our class. Like I did say, if you have a question, feel free to interject at any point. You can just interject, ask your question, and we shall be more than glad to just respond to you in a very, very nice way. So these are common verbs that are translated in Swahili, and they have to do with day-to-day activities. So you can wake up, or you will wake up, which is amka. You can talk about eating. Eating is kula, K-U-L-A. So if someone says kula chakula, it's just a phrase which means eat food, kula chakula. If you're talking about cooking, you might prepare some breakfast, and that would be pika chakula. If you're cooking food, you do say pika, P-I-K-A. Pika is for cooking, so that would be pika chakula. You can also describe the kind of a food that you're cooking and say it's very sweet food. So you would say pika chakula kitamu. Pika chakula kitamu. And I'm talking about waking up, getting ready, and you have to shower. You do say oga, O-G-A, oga. And if you're talking about the body shower, you do say oga mwili. If you're talking about brushing the teeth, you do say sukutua. Sukutua simply means to brush. So you do say sukutua meno. As you're learning about the parts of the body, last week we did say that for the teeth, you do say meno. But if it's for one tooth, you do say jino. So you do say sukutua meno na mswaki. Mswaki is a toothbrush. And if you're talking about sitting down, you do say keti. If you're talking about rising up, you do say amka once again, the same as wake. If you're talking about staying, you do say ka, K-A-A, ka. If you're talking about leaving the house, you do say ondoka. We have used that example severally. Even for words that have the vowel sound O, we do say ondoka. Ondoka is for leave. So if you do say leave, you do say ondoka kazini, which means leave work. That is simply how you do say leave work. If you're talking about clean, you're cleaning some utensils, and before you leave or after you just got back, so you do say osha, O-S-H-A, 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 O-S-H-A. That is simply how you do say clean. Clean is for osha. And if you're talking about things like another example here, if you're talking about things like let me get these right. If you're talking about things like walk, if you're walking somewhere, then you would say tembea. Tembea is walk. Tembea is walk. And if you're talking about driving to work, we do say endesha. Endesha, you're talking about maybe riding, driving. You do say endesha. E-N-D-E-S-H-A, endesha. Endesha means to drive. And if you're talking about maybe perhaps to talk, you do say ongea. You do say ongea. And you might also talk about zungumza. That is how you do say speak. That is how you do say talk, rather. That is how you do say talk. So if someone says zungumza nami, that is how you do say if you want to say zungumza, sorry, if you want to say discuss, so if you're talking about zungumza, it simply means to converse. It simply means to converse. And also, if anyone would like to join us in class just directly, let me share this particular link in case you feel that you would love to join the class direct. And just join us, and you can ask the question like one-on-one or something. Feel free to grab that particular link that I've shared on the comment box right there. And you can just ask any question, or you can just give me your input, or you can give me your feedback as well regarding why maybe perhaps you might have an interest, or why you have never had an interest before learning Swahili. It might be either way. You might be why you have an interest in learning Swahili, or why you've never had an interest in learning Swahili. I would love to know from you, because at the end of the day, we are doing this because we believe Swahili is a language of the future. And if we do have one language to reconnect us, or to connect us once again, I think that will be a plus for us as an African people. I was checking out some videos by one of the most popular journalists in Kenya, or a Kenyan journalist. And I was just actually discussing the fact that for you to be able to move around Africa, of course, we do not have one common language yet, but we are working on that, like what we're doing right here on this particular platform right here. But you do find it's rather very difficult, moving from one African country, going to another African country. Like, for example, if you're trying to move from Kenya, maybe perhaps you're trying to go to the Gambia, or Senegambia as it was formerly known, or you're trying to move from here going to Ivory Coast, or you're trying to move from Kenya going to Mauritius or Mauritania, or you're trying to go from Kenya to Morocco. It's not that easy. There are many barriers. First and foremost, you do have the issue with passports and visas. And another thing has to be the barrier of language. Even if you did have an interest in going to Morocco, or you had an interest in going to Egypt, first and foremost, for most African folk, in their mind, at the back of their head, there is some sort of alienation between African identity and Egypt. So if you're telling people about moving from Kenya perhaps and going to Egypt, they figure Egypt as being a place that is very far off, a distant land where, they have heard about the pharaohs and things like that. But then again, I would say one of the barriers, the main barriers, is because of language. It's because of a language. And if we had that reassurance, that when I go to Morocco, or when I go to Egypt, or when I go to South Africa, or when I go to Lesotho, or when I go to what do you call these other countries there? Namibia, or when I go to Swaziland, I will be able to converse in Swahili, or there's a lot people will be able to hear me out and know what I'm talking about. That would be a very, very big boost to the integration of our people around the world, because I would know that if I was to go to Senegal, then I would not have a problem communicating with them, because they would know I'm speaking in Swahili and they would be able to revert, or they would be able to have that conversation. That would be a very, very big assurance. But anyhow, let us continue with this. Let us learn more verbs that are very, very popular that will come up in a day-to-day conversation. Someone might ask you, umeamkaje, which means how have you woken up? If someone asks you, ulilala aje, you might respond and say salama, or you might respond and say nzuri. But things are not always good. Things are not always good. If someone is checking on you and you're not very well, you might say mbaya. Mbaya is the opposite of good. Mbaya simply means bad. Simply means bad. But of course, we have said that if you're talking about speak, you do say zungumza or onge. And we have also learned about the greetings. We did learn about the greetings. We did say if someone says hujambo to you, they mean hello, and you respond and say sijambo. If someone says shikamo to you, they are also greeting you, perhaps in the most cultural way, shikamo. Then you would respond and say marahaba, marahaba. So if a young one came up and say shikamo mama, it simply means that they are saying hello to you, and you would respond and say marahaba mwanangu. If someone asks habari yako, you respond and say nzuri, or you respond in njema, or you respond and say salama. If someone asks habari gani, you can respond and say salama or nzuri as well. If someone asks upo salama, it simply means are you okay? Are you good? And the affirmative is yes. You do say ndio. Ndio for yes. Ndio for yes. All hapana, ndio for yes. It is ndio for yes. All hapana for the negative. Hapana for the negative. So hapana is for the negative. Hapana is simply an answer for no. Is simply an answer for no. If someone says upo salama, are you okay? Are you okay? You shake your head and say ndio. You shake your head and say ndio. And if you're not okay, you shake your head like this and say hapana. Say hapana, sipo salama, which means no, I'm not okay. And then from there you can figure it out how to get better, or how things can actually be worked on to change the state or the status of how things are going. And moving on, like I did say, if you do have a question at any point, ukiwa na swali tafadhali uliza, which is if you do have a question, please ask. If you're in the urban setting, someone might ask you sasa. Sasa means how are you? It means just hello as well, but this is not really Swahili. Sasa means now in the pure form of it. But if someone says sasa, it means like how are you? It means hello. But that is just slang. It's like slang. It's not really a formal hello. It's a very, very informal hello. Someone says sasa. And then you might respond and say fit sana. And even fit is not Swahili. Fit is proper or fine. So you would say fit sana. If someone says also mambo is also not a proper formal Swahili greetings, but you can respond and say poa. Someone might also be in the streets and ask you niaje. It means how is it, how are things, or how is it. You might respond and say fitting. And we also learned about the common courtesy. Last week we talked about welcome. If someone says karibu, it means they are welcoming you. If someone says karibu darasani, it means I'm welcoming you to class. If someone says karibu nyumbani, it simply means I'm welcoming you home. And you would respond and say asante, because that is how you respond and say thanks. If someone says tafadhali, nipe maji, it means please give me some water. And if they want to show you, if they want to explain more, if it's talking about a literal water, they would say tafadhali nipe maji kidogo. Tafadhali nipe maji kidogo. It's not difficult, no rocket science, very, very easy. And I actually think that Swahili is one of the easiest languages, if not the easiest. I think it's one of the easiest, if not the easiest. And it's a beautiful language. I have compared Swahili to some other languages that I've heard people speak. And I will tell you for a fact, Swahili is beautiful because it has words that have syllables with alternating vowel sounds. It's not consonants that are, all over. There is a flow and a rhythm to it. Even when people are speaking in Swahili, there is that rhythm and a flow to it. There's some languages I will not mention that they do not have I don't feel that rhythm and a flow to them. And remember, there are also other words that do not use these syllables and the consonants. If you've watched that movie, Gods Must Be Crazy, you remember of the click sound with the language of the Khoisans in Southern Africa. So I failed to understand. Anyhow, it's rather difficult to understand the click sound. It's a language, but it's more of the click sound of the Khoisan people. And that movie was quite interesting. I have watched that movie recently at some point when I popped up somewhere. But I was just thinking to myself, how is it that you're also training? How do you train? Because the language is actually taught, so that it's carried over from one generation to another generation. But when it comes to now the click sound, it might be difficult. There are also other ways of communication. For example, the smoke signals that people have used to communicate things, also difficult. Even the sounds of a drum. So many ways of communication. But I would say language is one of the best, and I'm talking about Swahili language. People thought one of the things that happened with the movies that came out, especially in the 80s, and some other movies that came up in the 90s, that are portrayed a very negative or a backward image of Africa. So people would figure, how are these people communicating? How are these people living? But anyhow, you have to be on the continent and tour the continent so that you can see things for yourself. And if you want to do that, I would urge you to make a point of learning an African language. If you're not pleased with this language, you can try other languages. There are about 1,500 languages. I told you can talk with Fulani people. They do have the Fulani language. The Ashanti people of Ghana, they do have their language. The Igbo people of Nigeria, they do have the language. The Yoruba people of Nigeria, they do have their language. So many languages. But why Swahili? It's because it's very easy and it's the most popular on the African continent. So we proceed. Once again, feel free to interject at any point and ask a question. Feel free to interject. So if someone did not actually get you right the first time, they can ask you to come again. They can ask you to come again. And the way they do say it is samahani. Samahani simply means come again or excuse me. For example, if they were saying nataka maji kidogo, nipe maji kidogo tafadhali, please give me a little bit of water, and they did not hear you quite well, so they would say samahani. Samahani simply means come again or excuse me, I didn't hear you quite proper. Or they might say rudia tena. Rudia simply means repeat. Rudia. Sijakusikia, rudia tena. Rudia tena simply means come again. But if someone says samahani, you can also just respond by repeating your request. Like I did say, if you're telling someone goodbye, you do say kwaheri. If you're telling someone beware this and that would happen, you tell them tahadhari simply means beware. And if someone says kila laheri, it simply means best of wishes. I am wishing you the best of wishes. I am wishing you the best of wishes. So from there, we jump and go a little bit fast forward and talk about the pronouns in singular and plural when you're referring to people or when you're referring to persons. For example, you might say myself. If you're talking about self, the first person are singular. You're talking about self, myself. You do say mimi. Mimi simply means I or me. I or me. If you're talking about yourself, then that happens to be wewe. You, yourself. You're talking about you. If someone says, wewe unatoka wapi? Wewe unatoka wapi? They are simply asking you, where are you from? Or if they say, je, wewe unaitwaje? They are talking about you, wewe. W-E-W-E, that is you. They are pointing to you, and they do say wewe. They are pointing to you, and they would say wewe. And if you're talking about self, I have said, if you're talking about self, or I, we do say mimi. For example, if I did say mimi ninaitwa Spikes, I would say my name is Spikes. Mimi ninaitwa Spikes, which is I'm introducing myself. Jina langu ni. Jina is a name. If someone asks you, jina lako, it simply means your name. And I would say ninaitwa, or jina langu ni Spikes. Jina langu ni Spikes. So that would be, my name is Spikes. My name is Spikes. So if you're introducing yourself, you will say hujambo. Hujambo is hello. And then you go on and I say habari yako, and then they would respond and say nzuri or salama or njema. And then you would go on and introduce yourself and say jina langu ni Spikes, and then from there you continue with your request or whatever communication you're making to them, because you have already said hello to them, you have introduced your name, or you might even say ninatoka, which means I come from. Ninatoka, which means is a phrase, I come from. For example, if I did say ninatoka mji wa Nairobi, I would mean I come from the city of Nairobi. Ninatoka mji wa Nairobi, that would be I come from the city of Nairobi. But anyhow, let's proceed with how you refer to persons. Let me pull the how you refer to persons. So yes, when talking about you, we do say wewe. If I did say nitakunywa soda, is it simply means I will have a soda, I will take a soda, I will have a soda. And if you wanted to ask someone, how about you, you would say je wewe. You say how about you, because wewe simply means you. Je wewe. And you might say nimechoka sana, which means I'm very tired. Nimechoka sana. And you might ask, maybe perhaps you've been on a journey, you've been working for hours. Then you might say nimechoka sana, simply means I'm very tired. And you might want to ask someone, how about you? So you'd say je wewe. So if you're talking about us, the pronouns for persons, us, we do say sisi. So if you're talking about maybe that is sisi, and you wanted to say that sisi, we are very tired. It means we. So if you want to say we are very tired, you might say sisi tumechoka sana. Sisi tumechoka sana. We are very tired. We are very tired. You might also say we come from very far. So that would be sisi tumetoka mbali. It means we have come from afar. We have come from afar. That is how you simply say it. That is how you simply explain that you're coming from a far off place and you're very tired. And if you say sisi tungependa chakula kidogo, that would be we would love to have some food. And if someone extends you a courtesy, they've given you something, they have served you something, then you do say asante. And to emphasize that, you do say asante sana, asante sana. So there are two things to remember. If you're talking about someone asks you a question and you want to respond in the affirmative or the positive, you do say ndio, and ndio is for yes. If it's in the negative, you do say apana. If you do say apana in Swahili, apana in Swahili, which is no in Swahili, let us know where you tune in from. Nijulishe tafadhali. Let me know. Nijulishe tafadhali. Where you are tuned in from, where you're tuning from. I would love to know where you're tuning from. Remember, you can check out that official site. Like I did say, it's very easy to find a whole collection of things that will interest you. It's very, very easy to find a whole collection of things that will interest you from, things that you can wear, things that you can also give people as gift items. There are a whole lot of things that you are able to find, So we proceed. We proceed if there is no question, but feel free to ask any question at any particular point. I will also be playing you another jam. Let me see if I could find another nice Swahili jam, and you might be able to get a feel of what the Swahili music is about. So that I can see. Let me see if I get you another jam. There are many beautiful songs in Swahili. And now this one is called Sana Sana. And no, I think this one might lead to a copyright strike. So let me not jump to that one. Let me find another one. I hope, yeah, that's a good one. Let me find these and play you these. So we shall take a break with this jam.
Yeah. What's going on, Spikes?
Hey, what's up, kid? How are you doing?
Yeah, I forgot I was talking to you on Rumble. You didn't have your thing up. I was talking to you on Rumble BitChute and not on YouTube. I was typing messages on Rumble.
I'm just seeing them right now on Rumble. On Rumble. Yeah. I was playing that jam by Mumbua. I don't know if you remember her. The Mumbua. There's a chick. There's a lady, the singer. We did an interview once of the Mumbua, and her Swahili jam is
the Mumbua. Ain't that her right there?
Yeah, that was her jam. It's quite jamming.
Yeah, it's who's been doing good of it. Remember we did what's that sister name? And that's like 5 years, 6 years ago. Tesla Kenya. You remember her?
Yeah, I do remember her.
Man, we did an interview. Was that like 5 years ago, Spikes?
That was probably 5 years ago.
Yeah,
that was
about 5 or 6 years ago. Because I heard Shemai and them talking about it. I said, dang, me Spikes did an interview with that lady. That's about 100 years ago. She's still around.
Yeah, she is. I think she got signed by a new record label. So they're trying to put out her music and do a whole lot of marketing and radio circulation for her tracks. So she's back and she's doing better right now because she has that backup. I see you showing off your beanie hat, your Blackhotfire beanie.
Yeah, that's right. Got to get people to buy. Go there. Go to Blackhotfire Network, get all the Blackhotfire Network gears. You know? Okay.
Yeah, I do see. Yeah, I do see that's a hoodie.
Go get the Blackhotfire Network gear, guys. It's nice. It's comfortable. It's all 100% cotton. You know, it's cold outside. Go get your beanie. You know, put it on. Wear it. I
remember there's a brother.
Huh?
There's a brother you sent a pack of. There's a brother you sent a pack of. I think there was a package you sent with a hoodie and what is the name of that brother? There's a brother you had sent some items. I think it was a hoodie. You gave them a hoodie as a present and for supporting the network. I can't remember. They're looking good. Yeah, they're looking good. They look wonderful. I was also checking out all these items on the network. Let me even pull it up and show what I'm talking about here. Because there's a whole lot of things are on here. There's these the hoodie here on the left.
Yes,
you can see that.
Yeah, I like that one too. That's another nice. But see, the thing about this, guys, you can pay as you go. Let's say you broke. You broke, right? You click on that button, and you buy now and pay later. So you pay as you go. We're sending your stuff, and you'll get charged like maybe $2, $3 every 2 weeks until you got it paid off. So it's like $2 or $3, not interest, no interest, interest free. You know, you pick the hoodie, you go right there, and you pick your size, your color, what you get, and you'll see as Spikes goes, when you pick all that, there'll be something to pop up. Yeah, right there. See, it says Affirm and Afterpay. Either one of these two, the green and this other one, you can pay as you go. So, either one of those, you pick to choose one of those, and you can pay like $3 every 2 weeks till you get it all paid off. So you can, even if you're broke, you can get it. Sad enough, we ship everywhere in the world except Africa. And that's always the problem with that. We ship everywhere around the world. Australia, Japan, China. They always like Africa. Africa doesn't have an infrastructure built. But so you can pay as you go, guys. You know, if you can't afford it, you know, you buy it and they'll charge it and they'll charge your credit card or your debit card every 2 weeks. I think it's like $4 to $5 every 2 weeks until you got paid off. So, you know, it's cheap. So you can buy it, pay as you go. You know. Yeah,
I do see. They say it's for interest free payments. So it's interest free payments of $17. Yeah, they can charge it to your account, and now you can pay as you.
Yeah, because that's the price. Depending on the price of what it is, that's $17 every 2 weeks. Depending on what you get and the price of it. And but like I said, you can pay as you go. I got to add some more stuff on it though. Got to add some more clothes on it, some different clothes. What's that AI? It's a new AI design I want to use, put on different fly things on there. These are just basics. I'm not going to design or shit.
So there's a whole lot of items. If you're not into hoodies, you can get sweatshirts. You can get a sleeve button shirt. You can get these men's lights. You can get a whole lot of items that you can get to pick up from the snapback hat. There is the denim on here. There is unisex denim sharper jacket as they have described it here, and a whole lot of other things that you can get onto the network website. And the best thing right now is that I didn't know that you could pay gradually, which is quite interesting. Sister Michelle, you're saying hi to Keith.
Hey, what's going on, Michelle? How you doing?
I do hope that she's doing wonderful, and thank you for joining us in class today. We do hope that at the end of it, people are also able to learn, Swahili as we move on and have the skills to be able to communicate. People who
so since we learned this, I'm hoping we'll do this long term so you guys actually learn things. So we want to have everybody do a test at least once a month so you retain what you're learning. You know, make sure Spikes is teaching you right. We're actually learning what he's teaching. So it's not, you're just not wasting his time up here. We're actually learning the language so we can at least current a little conversation at least. That's better. That's Swahili, because Swahili is a beautiful language. Beautiful language. Ancient language. Beautiful, ancient. So a lot of people think that the Arabs Yes, no, Swahili's old. In the Arab language is only 1,500 years old. Swahili language goes back 3,000 years. So through the interaction with these communities, of course, Swahili interacted with Arabic culture, and the language always mix up. Just like German, like we're speaking English. English is a derivative of what? German. English comes out the German language. So doesn't mean that so same way Swahili's intertwined now with Arabic language because of the culture mixture it had. But Swahili is much older than Arabic languages. So Swahili doesn't come from Arabic language. Like, hey, that guy was asking in Tanzania, like, we need to do the complete African language. Swahili is African. But the Swahili, but the Arabic, that's a fusion that came along later. It's a later language. It fused itself with Swahili because of the interaction with the culture at the time. You know, the invasion of the Arabs into Eastern all of Africa. So it had a fusion. The Swahili is an African language. It's a Bantu language. And it's ancient, much more ancient in the Arabic. Much more ancient than Arabic. 3,000 to 4,000 years. So it's ancient language.
I agree. And of course, our language, like I was saying on the other show, our language keeps on changing. You know, there's a growth of new words. New words are actually added on to.
Exactly, because it's a living language. That's because it's not a dead language, though. It continues to grow, which is good.
Yes, as so long as our culture is also evolving, then our new words will eventually also come up in the language. And even right now, as we study or as we learn this particular Swahili, we shall also be getting to a point in learning what are some of the new words and some of the ways in which the language is developing. Because, for example, maybe about 40 years ago, people did not talk about the computers here. Or is it 40? Maybe about 100 years ago, people did not talk about the computers here, but that word there's a word that had to be adopted for the computer and other things like that always keep on, turning up. And these words are also now being introduced into the language. And as new things are, especially in technology, as new things are actually being discovered or actually being made, then there has to be some words that you, of course, have to be also to be invented as well, or to be put together for the language. But anyhow, we proceed, and as we proceed, we do hope that we are able to also do some bit of evaluation, because maybe perhaps every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we shall get to see how regular we shall be doing those evaluations, as Keith did mention. So we shall proceed. Let me continue sharing these particular notes, and then we shall proceed learning a little bit more of the same. Let me share these notes. Let me share these, the notes here. So if you're talking about the persons and we're talking about the pronouns, we would say, for example, if you're referring to them, you would actually say wale, or you would actually say how. So, for example, there's a group of people, maybe they are visitors, and you're referring to those visitors, you would actually say wageni how, or wageni wale, simply to mean those visitors. You're talking about them, wageni wale, you would actually say wageni wale if you're pointing to them, or you might say wageni how if you're talking about those visitors. And if you're pointing to someone, that is maybe perhaps right next to you, you would say huyu. For example, if you're talking about a youth or a lady or a man, you would actually say kijana huyu, simply to mean this gentleman. You would actually say kijana huyu. The huyu simply refers to this one. But if you're talking about them and they are a bit far from you, you're talking about that one, that gentleman, you would say kijana yule. If you're talking about a girl, maybe it's a young girl, and you're pointing to them and they're a little bit far from you, where you are, you're pointing to them, you would say msichana yule. Msichana is a Swahili for a girl, and mvulana is Swahili for a boy. So you would actually say mvulana yule, or you might say msichana yule. And if you're referring to someone who is not even there around you, you're talking about that one. And that one, maybe perhaps someone is asking, do you remember a certain young girl who used to pass by here? And then you'd say, oh, that one. In Swahili, would actually say huyo. Huyo msichana, that would mean that girl. Huyo msichana. Huyo msichana, who might be even farther from you. If you're talking about us, the pronoun, you do say sisi. And I've given an example a little bit earlier on, where you do say sisi, tumetoka mbali. Sisi, tumetoka mbali simply means we come from far. We come from far. Or if you're talking about sisi tunaenda mbali, it simply means we are going far. We are going far. Sisi tunaenda mbali. But if you're talking about them, you do say wow, wanaenda mbali, because enda, like I did give an example last week when we were talking about the vowel e, enda simply means to go. Enda simply means to go. So if you do say enda mbali, if you do say enda mbali, then that would be go far, go far. And if you do say sisi tunaenda mbali, sisi tunaenda mbali, sisi tunaenda mbali, it simply means tunaenda mbali, it simply means we are going far. We are going far. We are going far. That is simply how you refer to, like sisi, us, we are going far. Sisi tunaenda mbali. That is simply how you do say sisi tunaenda mbali. And if you do say wageni wamefika, wageni hao wamefika, how? The example I was giving earlier on is for them, you do say how, is for them. So you would say wageni hao, wanaenda mbali, wageni hao wanaenda mbali simply means those visitors are going far. Remember, when you talk about self, you do say mimi, ni, the ni, like I was saying a little bit earlier, is for self, points to self. But if you're talking about others, wa, the wa, which is syllable wa, it points to them. Wa, it points to them. Wanaenda mbali. Wanaenda, it's them. They are going, or they will go. They are going far, or they will go far. And of course, if you have a question up to that particular point, you can ask a question. Feel free to ask a question. For those who are watching on Rumble, you can also drop a comment on Rumble. For those who are watching on our BitChute, you can also drop your comment on there as well. Even as we're getting closer to winding up our lesson for today. Remember, we are always on here every weekend, and around this particular time, which is 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern African time. I don't know what time it is, wherever you are at, but I do hope that you're able to have.
Whenever your space goes live, it's usually like 9 o'clock Eastern in the morning, 9 a.m. guys. Usually when Spike's going live, usually like 9 a.m. Eastern time. Here, well, usually 10. Usually 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, that's around 10, and I do hope that the family can be able to catch up and also join us. I do know we do have a shadow ban on YouTube. That is for a fact.
You know that.
That is for a fact. But nonetheless, we still pushing, and we are on Rumble. If you haven't subscribed to the Rumble, just go to Rumble and search for the Blackhotfire network on Rumble. Also do join the network, the family there on as well. And you can also find on BitChute. That is also where you can find the live stream every other weekend. For now, I just want to thank everyone for joining us on the stream. Kid, will you be doing a live later on? I do hope, yes.
Yeah, later on the day, I'll be doing a live.
Yeah, later on in the day, Kid will be doing a live, and you can join him as he gets to share dose of truth on things happening, current affairs, or even on other matters. Just make sure that you are also checking out the app. It's available on Play Store. If you search for Blackhotfire Network, you'll find it on Google Play Store. Turn on the notifications on there, and you will be able to also catch up with the show as Keith just gets to join.
The app is free. Go to that Google Play Store for Blackhotfire Network. Download the app. It's free, and all the good stuff will pop up on there for you. You know,
the store is also available on the app, right? The store is also available on
so,
the app.
So we go to store, go to Blackhotfire Network. You see that? Boom. Blackhotfire Network. That's the radio playing right now. So open up the menu. Instead of going all the way to the website, you don't have to go with the website's right there. You don't have to go all the way to it. Live TV. You can go right here where it says you got the apparel store right there, and you got the sports and nutrition store. So for the clothing store, you just hit sports and apparel store. Boom. That's going to take you straight to it.
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, there it goes. My phone's taking slow. So then boom. So that's straight to that. That's the apparel store. But if you want to go to the other store, that took too long. Go to the other store, sports and nutrition store right there. Your sports nutrition. And you get all your multivitamins that you need to get to stay healthy. You're gonna need your multivitamins. You're gonna need your beetroot, your ashwagandha, your turmeric, your cognitive support, your college, your colon cleanse. You know, you need black people don't eat bad food, so we get colon cancer, prostate cancer. You're gonna need those things. You got your turmeric gummies. You got about a little bit of everything on here. But you got shea butter, you got beetroot, we got everything on it. But anyway, you just go to the sports nutrition store. You got everything on it: beetroot, ashwagandha, moringa. Let me go 1 to 6. Give me a second. Go 1 to 6. Let's go to nutritional. Let's go to natural extracts. Okay, here we go. So we got platinum. You have platinum turmeric right there. We got next one be moringa. You need that when you're gonna have your vitamins and minerals. Moringa pure. But everything you need, guys, we got within the sports nutrition section.
All those products will also are very well priced. So do not hesitate to use the app, or you can also just go straight to the network website, and you would be able to pick or select whatever items that you would love to get from on those two particular stores, the nutrition store and also that other apparel store. And in case you do have a question, feel free to shoot. You can write an email, or you can just drop your comment right here on the chat, and I will be able to find that and respond to you even after the live, because some people who watch this later, I do understand that people have different schedules, and some of them haven't even really woken up on a weekend. But nonetheless, make sure you connect with us, interact, and that would be actually wonderful. Key, thank you so much for giving us this platform. It's always a delight, and we appreciate it. We never take for granted these particular platform. For me, I just want to end the class there, but make sure you join us on the next lesson, and also make sure that you all stay interactive. I always keep on saying that a class ought to be interactive. Ask a question, I will respond, and from there I will know that we are moving on the same page. Maybe unless Kid has something to say.
Peace, love. Like I say, go get all your Blackhotfire Network gear. Get your hats. Get your I'm sell. Get your beanies. get your beanies, Blackhotfire. Get all your hoodies. Don't be afraid. Get your hoodies, guys. They're nice. They're comfortable. They're beautiful. Go get it. We got it. You need it. Come get it. So go get your hat. Go get all your Go to the sports nutrition section. Get everything you need there. We got everything you need. Ashwagandha, moringa, turmeric. Go get it. We got it. You need it. Come get it. Okay? Blackhotfire. We got 5 sales. But our brand, we got to sell, family. We got to make the money. We got to pay Spikes. Spikes can't be in there broke without no money. Teaching costs money.
That is us asking for that support on those particular 2 stores, and I will be able to also keep the lights on. And nonetheless, thank you so much. I want to wish everyone a happy and a productive rest of the day. Make sure you join Keith on his live as well, and just keep it interactive.
And my gangster, you know, gangster rap. Yeah.
Have a good one, Keith.
Have a good day, Spike. Peace, family.